This is Barbara Barrigan-Perea with Delta Flows, a radio show by the Voice of Stockton and Restore the Delta. This is the weekly radio show where we discuss everything Delta related: the environment, water management, water quality, farming, history and culture, public events, recreation, Delta food, and the arts. Tune in to Delta Flows on KXVS, the Voice of Stockton, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at KXVS Radio.
And now we have, of course, Lions with Connie O'Dea.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome again to Lions We Serve Live, and I'm your host, Lion Connie O'Dea. I'm president of the Stockton San Joaquin Lions Club, and I'm so glad to have you with us today. We have quite an exciting program. And now that we're getting close to the new holidays and seasons, there's all kinds of activities in our district that's happening. That's District 4A1 here in California. And I would like to tell you about a few of the coming up events. First of all, I'd like to start with the Stockton San Joaquin Lions Club's 60th anniversary. We are celebrating now our 60th year, and we are going to be having a dinner October 20th, Saturday, at 6 p.m., and that's going to be here in Stockton. And it's going to be at the family restaurant called UJ's Family Restaurant. And that's going to be at 7628 Pacific Avenue here in Stockton, California. All is welcome to come and celebrate with us 60 years. Our charter was in February of 1958. And so we are so very, very proud to have now had 60 years here in Stockton, California, serving our community. And our guest speaker is someone who is absolutely a fantastic Lion. It is past District Governor, Dr. Kevin Patel. He is a life member of the Hanford Lions Club in District 4A2. Now, Kevin Patel is the regional coordinator for the Leos in California and Oregon State, and with the Leadership Fellowship, or Leadership Foundation, I mean. And he has received his doctorate in the Social Services and Leadership Lions University. And he also is MD4's first official dancer. Now, Kevin is from India, and he is a certified cultural activist of the culture of India and a certified dancer. And at our dinner on October 20th, he will be performing some of the traditional Indian dances. So it should be a very, very exciting evening, and I hope all of you would like to come. Please contact me. You can contact me here at the station or at our website that is at the bottom of the page. That's our Lions Club Facebook page. And just address your information to Lion Connie, or you can call me. And that number is 209-242-4890. So I hope all of you who are in our area from other clubs, other districts, will come and celebrate 60 years with us on October 20th. Then I have a few other announcements to make here of what's happening here in our district. Okay, let's see here. Ceres Lions Club, they are having their annual Harvest Festival. And this is going to be September 30th, this coming weekend, I believe it is. And it's from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the tickets are only $20 and in advance, if you got them in advance, or $25 at the door. This is a fantastic arts and crafts harvest festival. It has a lot of beer and spirits going to be served, and There's going to be wine from local vineyards and lots of tasting of different kinds of food samples. And there's going to be a cigar tobaccoist samplers there. And also there will be bottled water and soda available. Lots of door prizes, a silent auction, and a Second Amendment drawing. And I'm not quite sure what that is, but it should be very exciting. And this is going to be at the Community Center in Ceres. It's called Ceres Community Center at 2701 4th Street in Ceres. So if you want to get a ticket, contact the Ceres Lions Club, and they will be able to get you a ticket, okay? Then the next exciting event that's coming up in our district is Sonora Lions. They're always doing fantastic things and having wonderful dinners, and now is the time of the year where they have their annual Newt McGinnis annual lobster dinner. Now, when I'm talking about lobster, I'm talking about big, full lobster, served with garlic bread and apple crisp and corn on the cob. You couldn't ask for a better dinner. This is going to be October 5th, Friday, October 5th, and it's going to be at the Sonora Elks Lodge. Wonderful place to have a big dinner. And that's at 100 Elk Drive in Sonora. The donation is $40. There will be the no-host bar. Lots of prizes. There is a door prize of $50 credit at the Sonora Trading Post, and many other raffles. So if you're interested in getting a ticket, please contact Jerry Regalin at area code 209-532-7828, or any other of the Sonora Lion Club members. And remember, that's the annual lobster dinner, and we're talking about a big, delicious lobster. There's always been nothing but fantastic reviews of this wonderful dinner. And then the next thing that is happening, next event is happening at Oakdale Lions Club. Now, Oakdale is also celebrating their charter date. 75 years that Oakdale Lions Club has been in Oakdale, California. They're celebrating their 75th anniversary, and that's also going to be on October 6th at 6 p.m. Dinner is at 7, and it's going to be at the Oakdale Golf and Country Club at 243 North Stearns Road in Oakdale. Now, if you'd like to get in touch with one of the chairpersons, contact Marvin Miller, and he is at area code 209-844-5404. Or you can contact past District Governor Don Allen, and Don's number is 209-988-3098. You could also go to any of the Lions Facebook pages or their website and get the information of each one of these wonderful, wonderful events. And let me see, I have a casino night coming up. Oh boy, lots of fun. Casino night, and that is going to be October 13th. And there is going to be a spaghetti dinner. There will also be blackjack and craps and bingo. And with the donation of, wait a minute, what is the donation? Of $20 only. You will get play money to play all of these wonderful casino games. And there's going to be a live auction. And that live auction is 1 week in Lake Tahoe, And also another live auction will be 1 week in Waikiki, Hawaii. Now for $20 to get in on this drawing for the live auctions would be fantastic. There's going to be silent auctions also. There's going to be music and line dancing. Now lions are great line dancers. And this is a fundraiser for our second Vice District Governor, Wendy Palhalogen, and to raise money to help her through her great adventure of travels and going to clubs and events for her leading up to being our next district governor in about 2 years. Now, if you want to get information or get a ticket for this dinner and this casino night, contact Eileen Guadagnolo, if I always mix up her name, Guadagnolo, past district governor. Her phone number is 209-887-2002. And also you can contact Wendy too. And her number is 209-406-5015. This is going to be a very, very exciting and fun event. And I would also like to tell you that the LA Host Lions Club in Los Angeles area, they are going to be celebrating their 100th year since they were chartered. And that is going to be held September 29th at the Crown Plaza Hotel in the City of Commerce. And you can contact the LA Host Lions Club for tickets and further information. But 100 years. Now here in Stockton, the next oldest club is the Stockton Host Lions. And in 2020, they are also going to be celebrating 100 years. So we're all very proud of these two clubs. We're very proud of all the Lions and all the work they've done in their communities. And think of that, being in a community, 100 years. So I hope all of you will try to participate and come to join our dinner for our 60th anniversary for the San Joaquin Lions Club here in Stockton. And also for the 75th anniversary of the Oakdale Lions Club. And in September 29th down in LA for the Los Angeles or the LA Host Lions Club for their 100 years. So we got some great celebration happening in the next 2 months. Okay, and for all of you here in District 4A1, our next district meeting is going to be November 2nd and 3rd, and it will be in the Stanislaus region. And next week, I will have more information about that meeting for you. Okay, now I'm going to get to my guest today. We have a very, very special guest. This young lady, her name is Judith Wolf.
Janice.
Oh, excuse me, Janice Wolf. Thank you. I'm sorry. Janice Wolf. And she is a visually impaired competitive championship archer. Yes, you heard me right. She is visually impaired, and she is a champion, and not only just champion, international champion of archery. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about some of her accomplishments. In 2015, one of the competitions that she was in, she completed in her third World Archery Para Championship in Germany. And she won a gold medal in her division. And I think she's going to show that gold medal. Is that the one you're going to show us in a few minutes?
Yes.
Okay. And then in May of this year, 2018, she completed the International Open and took first place in her division. So I would like to introduce to you Janice Wolf. And I'm so glad you're here with us today, Janice.
Thank you.
And she also has her service dog,
Vargo.
Vargo. He's with us also. But I don't think the camera can get down on him. Janice, you know, when I first met you, and I met her through an organization that we both belong to also, which is called Sisters of the White Cane. They do community work in the community, and the majority of the members are visually impaired and very remarkable women. And that's how I met Janice. And how did you begin to go into archery, being visually impaired?
Right, because archery is not typically a sport that you would associate with not having sight. So how would you even imagine doing it? And
Right.
So really what happened was my husband Courtney was shooting archery, and he had joined a club in Sacramento, an archery club, and so he was enjoying the sport. And
Is he visually impaired?
no, sighted.
Okay.
And the club that he joined, there were all sighted people. And so I would go up with him and sit on the sidelines while he shot. And then he was doing competitions, and so I would go with him and support him. And at the time I was going to school, going for my bachelor's degree, so I had my laptop with me, and I would do homework, and I would crochet while I was, waiting. But then I got to thinking, I wonder what it feels like to shoot a bow.
Oh, wonderful.
And, what would that feeling be like? And so he and I talked about doing it, just trying to do it, and see if there was a technique that could be used so that I would be able to shoot. And just shoot with the club, the local club, is really what I was thinking, to be able to join in with them and with him while he was doing it. So I did some internet searches. This was back in 2003 when I first got the bug to try it. So I did internet searches. I wanted to find out is there a technique, are there other archers out there who are blind and who are shooting archery? What technique do they use to sight in and to sight and to the target?
Right.
And so at that time, all I could find was British Blind Sport over in Great Britain, and they were doing it, and they had developed a technique for shooting archery as a blind person.
Okay.
And they were actually competing, and it was being done in other countries over in Europe as well. It had spread to other countries. So I wrote to them, I emailed, and I asked them to tell me what technique they were using, and they sent us pictures of the setup, the sighting setup, and how they were doing it. So Courtney, because he's very mechanically, very mechanically inclined. He's very good with his hands and all that, and he was able to duplicate the pictures they had sent, but also we felt make improvements to it and kind of customize it more, for me. And so I started.
This is the device that you use to be able to
sight to the target. So
Okay.
a sighted person mounts a bow sight onto their bow, and they look through that sight. That's how they aim at the target. So they have the sight on the bow, and they line the sight up, just like you do with a gun or whatever.
Right.
They look different, but it's the same idea. Just like you do a gun, shoot a gun. So you line up the sight to the target, and that's your aiming, and the rest of it is form. You still, even if you're going to shoot a gun, or a bow, just looking through the sight and putting it on the target, but you have no form, you're just holding it every which way. it's not going to hit the target properly just because it's aiming. So aiming is important, obviously.
Yes.
It's not a major piece. The major piece is learning to shoot that. Well, we'll talk about bows and arrows at this point. Shoot that bow properly, consistently, developing the proper technique, which is going to get your shot where you want it to land. The sighting is, I always say the sighting is like 5% of the shot. Yes, you have to be sighted in. You have to have something that you can aim with, but if you don't perform that shot properly, which is drawing back the bow using the correct anchor points when you're at full draw, consistently, drawing with the same muscles. If you don't do that every time, your shot is not going to land where you want it to, no matter how steady your aiming point is. So I use the technique for a visually impaired person is, we call it a tactile sight. So instead of a sight that you look through, you mount on your bow, my sight is mounted on a tripod that stands next to me, and the sighting piece is on top of the tripod. So first of all, I need a what's called a foot locator, so that I'm standing on the shooting line in the same place every time I return to the shooting line. A sighted person will walk up to the shooting line with their bow, and they'll straddle the shooting line properly, and they can look down and say, okay, this is where I put my feet each time, this is where I put them last time. And then when you shoot a bow, you draw across, you raise the bow to the side of you, and you draw across your body, that string, okay? So the foot locator gets positioned across the shooting line and tacked down, so that when I return to the shooting line, I am putting my feet in the same place every time.
So there's
it's
something
consistent
there on the ground where
Yes.
you are to place your feet.
Exactly. So
Okay.
I put my heels back against this, and then there's 2 foot markers that stick out from that foot locator, so I put my feet alongside each of those. Now I know my feet are in the same place every time, because I can't look down and see that they are. So this tells me, okay, they're right in the same place. Now the tripod is attached to that foot locator, and it's to my left, and the sighting piece is put on the top, and the sighting piece is just, it can be a regular bow sight like everybody else uses, only mine's mounted on the tripod instead of the bow. And I use the back of my hand to touch that sight when I'm at full draw, instead of the sight being mounted on the bow and I'm looking through the sight. This sight is mounted on the tripod, and when I'm at full draw, I touch the back of my hand to the sighting piece, and that gives me my elevation, so I know I'm shooting the right height to hit the target, and it gives me my direction toward the target, so I know I'm aiming in the right place.
Fantastic.
Now everything else has to be done like any other archer. The equipment is the same, the bow, the arrows, that's all the same as any other archer. So I call it a low-tech thing. It's not high-tech. We don't use sound, or audio to, it's very low-tech, but that's how it's done.
I'm looking here at a picture that Janice sent to me, and it shows what her what do you call it?
I don't know. It's it's
your
my setup, my sighting.
Your setup,
right?
Okay.
It's the tactile sight.
And if you go to
basically.
her homepage, let me make sure.
SeeNoLimits.org.
Okay. SeeNoLimits.org. If you go to that homepage of hers, you will see this picture of her as she's drawing her bow, and you'll see the setup that she has. It's remarkable. And your husband developed this for you.
He has improved upon. It's gone through many stages, and the thing that we found out through the years of me shooting, he really had an opportunity to make it better. And the three things that we consider to be most important: it has to be portable, because you have to be able to take it from home, transport it, to the field and set it up and take it off the field. And if you need, if you want to get somebody, I'm lucky to have a husband that shoots, but let's say that I needed a friend to help me out, somebody was going to pick me up to take me to the archery range, it needs to be portable so that they can easily transport it in their car, or they're not going to want to bother with it. It's going to be a bother. Okay, so it has to be portable. It has to be durable, so that if somebody is there on the field, on the range with you, all the people that you're shooting with, they walk on top of it, you walk on top of it, you kick it, whatever, it's not going to break. It needs to be, sturdy enough not to break. And then it needs to be adjustable, because your form changes through the years. You need to be able to adjust for it, just the sighting part, raising up, down, moving it left, right, but also to adjust the foot markers to go this kind of stance that you want, and that kind of thing. So adjustable, plus if you're going to use them for camps or in clinics, you have different people, different heights, different arm spans, kids, so it has to be adjustable. And that's what Courtney has really worked hard on, those 3 points, and we feel like we have a really good setup. We feel like we have the best one.
Do you have a patent on it?
We don't have a patent for a couple reasons. One reason is expense. It's really not worth it to us for the expense to patent something. The other thing is, we really want people to do this. We want visually impaired and blind people to take up this sport and to love it like we do. And it's Courtney doesn't want to have to build them for people if they can build it themselves. So if they want to build it themselves, great. He doesn't have that kind of time that it, for the demand. The other thing is, it is a small community. It's not like it's a business that he can go into to build them himself. This is my design, and publicize it. I have the great design, come to me, because it's a very small community. You're not going to make any money off of that kind of a business. When you say
a small community, do you mean it's a small amount of
small number of visually impaired archers that that would need the equipment? It's just not a business that we want to get into. So it isn't worth it, and we really our biggest focus is we want people to do it. So if they can build it themselves using, we have on the website how Courtney builds it. We use materials that you can buy at Home Depot or Lowe's. It's not special manufacturers. If you look at competitions with visually impaired archers, everybody builds their own.
Oh, I see.
So there is no company that builds them. British Blind Sport does have their design that they sell, but it's not a business type of a thing.
More or less, these are basically built and designed for each individual person, for their own personal needs, their height, their abilities, and so forth.
So we feel like we have a really good design, but I don't think that it's important that we patent it, because I just want people to do it. So however we can help them get started and to do it. We have lots of requests out right now are coming for the equipment, for Courtney to build it for them, and he doesn't have he does it in his spare time. So we're really excited when we get a request for it, but he can't do it immediately, unfortunately. So.
Well, Janice, tell us how you got started into competition.
Yeah, so it was funny, because I started using this technique and just started shooting with the archery club and became a member, and I was the first blind archer with the club. They were very welcoming. I have found the archery community to be really inclusive and inviting.
So I decided
all-sided
yes,
club.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And so I decided I wanted to. Courtney was going to be doing a tournament, a state indoor tournament, in January of 2004, and I asked the people at the tournament if they would allow me to participate at the tournament as well. And I told them, about the equipment that I had, and they said yes, that I could, and I could be as a guest. I could because they didn't have a category for me, but I could shoot as a guest. So I did that at the state indoor, and then I shot the state outdoor. Same thing.
Can I ask you, what was the response of the sighted people who also participated, or who were in the club, and the guests? What was
it's
their
always been kind
reaction
of amazement, something that they never thought about and thought could be done, I think, and they were always very welcoming and didn't make me feel like an outsider or like I was a burden, to the group. But yeah, I think they come up to me and say how impressed they are that of what I'm doing, and they're always pretty amazed that it can be done.
I would be amazed too when I found
that
out
it can be done.
when I found out that you
and
did
I have
archery,
had people ask me, how did you even think of doing it, of trying it? Why would you have even considered? Because it is not a sport that you think you could do without seeing, and I understand that question because it's true. But it was really because of Courtney, and Courtney always thinks outside of the box. He's if there's something that I want to try, he'll figure out how to do it. So I'm lucky, to pave the way. So I was lucky that year that the California State Archers of California voted to make it a category in the state of California. I
were
was
there
the first
any
one.
any organizations that for
No.
Visually impaired in the
that
United
supported
States?
archery? There are organizations. There is such as USA Blind Athletes. That is a national organization for the blind, for blind sports, but they only support sports that are in the actual Paralympic Games right now. So
archery is
not at the Paralympic level, so they don't support it. And so that's the problem that we've run into is that kind of a thing. We don't have, like in England where they have British Blind Sports, which supports all sports for the blind, including archery. But here they don't. So we've kind of had to pave the way, and Courtney and I have pretty much done that. We got it in a category here in California, and then wanted to shoot the U.S. Nationals just for fun because Courtney wanted to do it, and I thought that sounds like fun. So we contacted them, said, "Would you have a problem with me
And what
shooting?"
organization was this again?
It's USA Archery. It's called USA Archery. That's the organization that we shoot under, which is a part of World Archery, and World Archery is a part of the International Olympic Committee and Paralympic Committee.
Wonderful.
So IOC and IPC are the top level, and then each sport has their world organization. So ours is World Archery, and under the world organization is the national governing bodies, and our national governing body is USA Archery. So we shoot under USA Archery rules and in their tournaments. So the U.S. Nationals is under USA Archery. And we contacted them, and they said yes, that I could shoot at U.S. Nationals, and they made it a national category for visually impaired. So I was the first blind archer to shoot at U.S. Nationals.
Well,
ever.
congratulations.
So it was really fun, kind of paving the way.
Well,
so
you
I kind of
certainly
went
have.
from state up to national, and then I was asked by the Paralympic, the para archery coach, if I wanted to participate in the World Championships in 2007. That was the first time that visually impaired archery was offered at the World Championship level. And so I traveled with the team, and I was the only visually impaired archer on the team. The rest were other disabilities. And I competed in Korea. And so, like I say, I just wanted to shoot in the club just to try it out. But now here I was at the World Championships,
Well,
in Korea.
You're a leader here, for goodness sakes.
And so that year, I won the silver medal, which, I was just happy to be there. I had no idea that I would even, get to a medaling level. And so it was really fun. So that's kind of how it just kind of all evolved.
And this was an international
yes, the
competition.
Internet, it was, yes, world championships, for para
And was
archery.
it, for the para?
Para, yes.
That means...
Para is short for
Paralympic.
Paralympic,
Right,
Paralympic
okay.
archery. So at the world championship level, the competitions are separated by sport. So you've got your world championships for archery, for swimming, for whatever. And so this is world championships for archery in the Paralympic division. So it was all Paralympic archers. There's about 300 from all over the world that compete with all different disabilities. The visually impaired are a very small number right now, but we're really working hard internationally. We have a Facebook, it's a closed page right now. I forget what you call that. I think a closed page, but we're working really hard to come together internationally as visually impaired archers and kind of start to have a say in trying to build the sport and have a say with World Archery on how are we going to do that. What are the barriers and all that for visually impaired
Is the
archers?
visually impaired archers, are they part of the Olympics now or the Paralympics?
Well, you've got your able-bodied people who are in the Olympics and your disabled people who are in the Paralympics.
Right.
And it's the same level, but so visually impaired is part of the Paralympics. It's part of the disabled community, not Special Olympics. Special Olympics is a whole different organization.
Right.
But Paralympics is for physical disabilities, and that's where the visually impaired are, and we can compete up to the world championship level. But because our numbers are still trying to grow, we don't have enough for the full Paralympics. You have to have so many countries.
Oh, I see.
And so many
people, so
yeah,
many countries.
Exactly. In
Oh.
order for them to make it a Paralympic sport and in full. So right now we're at the World Championship level and we're trying to get our numbers up to appear at the World Championships, because if we participate at the World Championships, then they'll say, okay, yes, they have enough numbers, now we can put it in the Paralympics. But we have to show up. And we've had a problem over the years with not enough countries signing up, and so then the division, like last year, it was supposed to be in Beijing, the Para World Championships, and it was in Beijing, but not for the visually impaired because not enough people signed up.
Not enough people.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we're working really hard, and next year it's going to be in the Netherlands, and I think we have worked with World Archery. They've just come out with a survey
Okay.
for us to try and figure out where are the barriers that are keeping the visually impaired archers from being able to participate. And we've told them that it's not enough to say they're not showing up. There's reasons why they're not showing up. It's not because there's lack of interest. There's other things. There's always other reasons.
Well, are there trainers or people who can design these setups like you have to be able to do your sighting?
Yes,
Are there
and
enough of those people in
each
the
archer
countries?
needs to appear with their. See, there's different issues why a person can't make it to the championships, and one of them is we have to have we call it a spotter or an assistant, and the assistant sets up the sighting equipment for us to get us sighted into the target. Once that's set up and we're sighted in, now we're in charge of our shot and performing that shot properly, and we can adjust our own equipment from there little bit, up, down, left, right, depending on where the arrows are landing. Now, the assistant also, when you shoot, is telling you where your arrows are landed on the target, so you can make your adjustments. So if the target face, has different color rings. The center is gold, and then red, blue, black, and white is the outside ring. So if he tells me red 3 o'clock or blue 7 o'clock, I can visualize on the target where my arrows are landing, and I can make adjustments. If I'm always at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I know I'm always hitting the target on the right. I need to move my sighting piece over to the left more, so that I'm, on the hitting the center of the target. So you need that when you're competing. You need that person, and so we have to, when we fundraise to travel internationally, we have to fundraise for 2 people, unlike other people who just travel and have to pay their expenses as one person. But I have to fundraise for both of us, flights and the accommodations, and there's a charge. During the tournament, there's a tournament fee for him as well. If my tournament fee is like 150 euros, his is going to be 100 euros. So we're paying double because we need that assistance. So there's one barrier, a hardship on people for being able to travel and attend, is the expense.
Now, let me ask you this: have you reached out to get sponsors? Like companies sponsoring you, or businesses?
You can do that. Anybody can do that. Some companies, don't want to, because you're not a full Paralympic sport. They may not, be interested in sponsoring you. I myself have been very fortunate, because I have been pretty successful fundraising. The Lodi, Stockton, Lockford, Clements, area have been very supportive of me, and I've been able to have fundraisers before I go, and I write to the different archery companies and ask them if they would donate for raffle prizes, and I've gotten the Lodi the Clements, I'm saying it wrong, Clements Lockford Lions.
Oh yes, real good group. They're part of our district. Yes.
Yes, and they've helped me numerous times with either donation of money, or a couple times when I have an event at Lodi Archery in Lockford, and they'll do the barbecue for me and give me the proceeds from the barbecue. They'll do pulled pork or hamburgers or something. And that's been
so you've
really
been getting
great
support from other Lions.
Yes, I have.
Good.
And the Lodi Lions, the one in Lodi, have given me donations when the years that I've been competing. They've been very generous, and so I've worked hard fundraising, and people have been very generous. So. I'm lucky there, and I've had very good support from different bow manufacturers. They haven't per se sponsored me, and I haven't needed them to. Also, my arrows are given to me, donated, whatever you want to say, to me from Carbon Tech Arrows. He's the Rick McKinney is very generous, has been with me for my arrows, and I've received from Hoyt and from Win-Win and from Prime, different bow companies. I've received bows, and I haven't had to buy a bow because they've been very generous.
That's wonderful.
So you kind of just have to work it and have to meet these people, reach out, and when they see what you're doing, there's a tournament called the World Archery Festival. It's in Las Vegas every year, and it's a archery event and trade show. And Courtney and I go every year, and you walk around to the different booths and meet them and tell them what you're doing, and that's how I've gotten to know and been able to get raffle prizes or just donations for myself for equipment. And so that's kind of the thing that you have to do.
Well, that's
Yeah.
wonderful, and it's wonderful that already you have Lions that are supporting you.
Yes,
and there
yes.
could very well could be some more Lions clubs in our district that could also support you. Now, I would like you to tell us about the World Archery Para Championship, where you received. Let me see. You received the gold medal, which you
Yes.
have to show us today.
Yes, that was in Germany 3 years ago.
See,
And
the camera's on me right now.
You can show it.
Let me hold this up in front of the camera. Wait a
so
minute,
at that
it's
tournament,
not showing yet.
it's not showing.
No, but tell us about it.
So
okay?
with that tournament, they're visually impaired have two divisions. There's what's called B1. Those are totally blind or maybe some light perception. And that's the category that I'm in.
I think it is showing right now.
Okay.
Okay.
It is? Okay.
Yes.
And so that's, and then there's the B2-3, which are legally blind, are visually impaired, legally blind, but they have some usable sight. They can't see the target, but they have some sight. Okay, so those are two different categories. So in my category, B1, I set the world record for outdoor score, and I did win the gold medal. And it was really exciting because this was the first time, this was my third World Championships, this was the first time that World Archery televised it on the internet live.
Oh my!
And it
my
was
goodness.
pretty neat. Under it's called Archery TV.
Archery TV.
And Archery TV on YouTube is the World Archery channel. And when they have events, they televise the medal matches. And so this was the first time that they had ever televised the para event and visually impaired archery. And so it was a learning experience for them because we have to set up our sighting equipment, ahead of time, get sighted in. And so there was issues with timing because when it's live, you can't take too much time. They said people that are watching will get bored, if you take too much time with your pre. So we worked all that out with them, and it was really exciting because my mom and my brother watched live from home. It was like 4 a.m. for them, and they were able to watch the.
And this
it
is
was really fun.
Archery TV.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
it's a YouTube channel.
on YouTube.
Yes. Yes.
So you would
So
just
that,
put, it's on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. So that
Okay.
was pretty cool, and it was a great experience, and that it was very high pressure. And you can still see it on Archery TV. That match, the video is still there.
Oh, it's still there.
Yes, yes.
And that was dated.
That was
in 2015.
August of 2015.
August
Uh-huh.
2015.
Yep,
Okay.
the World Archery Para Championships.
And what about the one this last May?
So
that
this
you
last
went?
May was in the country of Andorra, which is a little country on the border of France and Spain, and it's up in the Pyrenees, a tiny little country, and we flew into Barcelona, and it was a 3-hour drive to Andorra, and it was a small tournament which they hope to grow. But it was an international indoor tournament.
International indoor. Okay.
And there was archers from France and Great Britain and Andorra. They have an archer, and archery is very important to the country of Andorra. They're really trying to build it up, and so this tournament was important to them. And so at this time, I shot against 2 other gentlemen in my division, and I got first place. In my division, I won, and I also set the indoor record at that time. And so that was really exciting.
It is very exciting.
And the people in Andorra, the people the hosts that put on the tournament were really pleased about that I did set the record, and it didn't matter to them that it wasn't the gentleman from Andorra that set it. It was very important to them that they had a tournament there, and that at that tournament somebody set a world record. That was very
And you
important
set
to them
the
as a
world
country.
record.
And I did, yes.
Oh, wonderful.
So it was a really neat experience, and we're hoping to go again. So next year is the World Championships in the Netherlands in June, and then the tournament in Andorra in October.
Are there
again,
any
so.
tournaments in our area, or
Well,
where other people can see, or is there
there-
other on
there-
television?
Yes, there are, and in fact, the outdoor season has just come to a conclusion. We shot at a tournament just this past weekend up in Sacramento. There are 2 tournaments in Sacramento where we shoot, and there is another visually impaired gentleman from the Bay Area that shoots as well. And so he was there. He and I were both there this past weekend. And then in August, there's also one in Sacramento. Otherwise, what's coming up is January. There's state indoor, which that's down in Tulare.
In Tulare.
But
okay.
in February, at the end of February, I think it's February 23rd, around that weekend, it's called U.S. Indoor National. So that's a national ranking tournament. And I'm sure Jason will be shooting that one, and I will be, and Courtney's going to shoot it. It's all able-bodied and para all shoot. And that's up in
Fantastic.
Sacramento at up in Sacramento. I can't remember the name
Okay,
of
well, we'll get that information.
Yeah.
Well, Janice, it has been a pleasure having you here with us today.
Thank you.
And sharing this outstanding skill of yours. And
And
I
if
mean,
anybody-
you're amazing.
Anybody wants to give it a try, go to seenolimits.org, and you can contact me through there, because we have a great archery range out in Lodi Archery and in Lockford, and we can get you started.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you
I'm
for
so
inviting
proud
me.
of you. You've
Thank
done
you.
such a, and you're leading the pathway. That's so exciting.
It's real important
It
to
is.
me. I like that that accomplishment, and to pave the way for other people.
That's wonderful. Well, out there, all of you, I think that you have had the opportunity to meet this wonderful champion and to learn how wonderful people, even if you do have a visual impairment or even other disabilities, how you can be so successful and do absolutely wonderful things. And just like Janice, she's leading the way now for visually impaired archers throughout the United States and helping throughout the world. And it's been an honor having you here, Janice. And I hope you'll come back and visit
Thank
us. And I want to thank everyone out there, and we'll see you next Monday at 2 o'clock. So, Janice, let's say goodbye and see you next week.